Hey there, hi there. It's me, Priscilla B, and welcome, viewers. So, this is just going to be a general dream reading, and I'm starting off with Tim Burton's The Nightmare Before Christmas Tarot deck. Okay, so I'm going to just go ahead and shuffle up these cards, and there's some cards belonging to other decks in here as well. So, these are probably, oh wow, okay, yeah, these definitely are going to tie in for sure. Okay. Wow. Oh my gosh. Awesome. Okay. So I got some extra bonus cards for this reading. I'm going to go ahead and shuffle up the Nightmare Before Christmas cards and see what comes out. So the main focus here is definitely dreams and or nightmares, depending what you're having. Hopefully dreams, but usually when you're clicked on a video to get some insight here, and it's a tarot card based video. Usually you might be having some more nightmares than dreams, but let's go ahead and find out what's going on here at this time. We got Luna here as my little assistant. Yeah. Oh, thank you very much. Okay, so up first we have the Four of Candles with these vampire Dracula looking creatures here. Oh, yeah. There are definitely some emotional vampires that I think are trying to draw in your attention at this time. They're sort of lurking, in the background, sort of speak. Not sure exactly what they're up to here, but it does look mischievous. It doesn't look good. Ooh, King of Candles. Wow. Yeah, that's your ultimate like that's the ultimate emotional vampire. Okay, I don't know if any of you've seen Nosferatu, but that's like the king of the emotional vampires, like the number one narcissist, at the center of it all. So I think you could be dealing with a lot of sort of toxic male energy, and so yeah. Now I'm seeing how these cards are like tying in for sure. Oh, and we have the Queen of Candles. So you're really at like a battle here because you've got the King and the Queen. And look at this. We've got the Lovers card from my Mystical Magna deck. Okay, these are the star-crossed lovers, Romeo and Juliet, soulmates, twin flames. These two want it all, right? They want the fairy tale. They want the happily ever after. There's these red ribbons. There's these Cupid's arrows. All the signs that this is a mystical, magical love affair. And then there's the angel, like your Cupid's angel here, that's sort of like hovering above them, protecting them, guarding them with their beautiful wings here. So it's interesting that from a sort of dark, sinister, sort of nightmarish start to all of this. Yeah, because Four of Candles. Okay. You're going to start to sort of understand more of like why this relationship is being so uh, attacked. Okay, I want to say Queen of Candles. Yeah, so the Queen of Candles, you've got the slick black cat, sneaky black cat here. She's quick. She's not fooling around. She's not messing around. She knows her shit. Kind of like a Catwoman sort of vibes here. Not afraid of lurking in the shadows. Okay, her light is still burning bright. Her passion is still burning bright. But she's up against, a big force, like a villainous force here. So It's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. Okay, we have the Queen of Coins. Wow, beautiful energy. So there is light coming in here to sort of shine on this darkness and sort of point out how you want to move forward with this energy that's coming in right now, how you see your value. You know, you have a lot to offer in any relationship, especially a romantic one. I knew this was going to be a dream love theme reading when I started it, but I wanted to make sure. But this is definitely confirmation with the lovers and the Queen of Coins here, because I feel like for a lot of you, what has happened in the past is that these like very emotionally draining, toxic King of Candles, you know, uh, energies have come into your life. Um, And I feel like because you're not scared of a challenge, you know, you think you can like fix everyone or fix everything. You kind of embraced this energy, you know, being like, I can prove to this person that like love still exists, that there is room for romance and soulmates and an everlasting love. But the problem is here isn't um that you're like wishful thinking is going like is on the borderlines of like naive or ignorant or whatever. It's just the fact that like the other person has to embrace that energy as well and accept that energy as well. Okay, they have to believe in that as well. And I think what the Queen of Coins is telling you here is that even if you put in 100%, 110%, 200% into any relationship that you enter into, and you already know your value and your worth to like the utmost highest of value, you know what I'm saying? Kind of like the OG of uh love stories here, and what it takes and what kind of energy needs to be put into this, you know, infinite amount of abundance here. The thing is that you have to have someone who like equally believes in that as well, because if they don't believe in it, then you're not, it's not set up for disaster, but it is set up, and it's not set up to like fail necessarily, but it is set up to where you're going to have to just walk away, right? You're going to have to move on and follow that light path forward. Yeah, we have here the Princess of Cups. Okay, this card comes up quite a lot in one in a specific reader, Dove and Serpent reader, YouTube reader, does Capricorn readings, and this card comes up in Capricorns a lot. So I don't know, maybe I'm speaking to a Capricorn right now. Maybe this is for you Capricorns. But either way, though, the thing is with this card in particular is that it's often seen as like the damsel in distress, or that's the narrative, right, that I feel like is given to this card quite a bit when this card shows up. And there is no really such thing as a damsel in distress. There are people who are in emotionally like vulnerable situations in their lives and are facing difficult challenges and obstacles, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they are unable to resolve these issues on their own. It doesn't mean that they need, you know, a knight in shining armor to come rescue them. um for me, when I get this card and I see this card, and there's even a giant swan here in the background like hovering over her, again like the angel here, so swans could be your spirit guides. Okay, um the thing is, oh, and there's even like a little like turtle coming out of the cup there. That's so cute. And there's like a giant like fish, almost like a, looks like almost like a shark, honestly, next to her. Yeah, like the Princess of Cups is very heavily guarded and very heavily protected when it comes to her own strengths and her own divine wisdom. And you're not like looking for someone who's going to like question that or make fun of that or try to take that away from her. In fact, she's somebody who often is like the rescuer. And it's so ironic because it's like, you know, in fairy tale stories you often have like the prince is rescuing the princess, but that's like the divine masculine energy saving the divine feminine energy. The divine feminine energy does not need rescuing, okay? Instead, she needs a partner who is like equally going to see where the goals are in their relationship, where the journey needs to continue, and how to meet those goals and how to move forward. And she already has her own badass energy here, okay? She already is in tune with nature. She's already in tune with the divine. Um, she doesn't need to like fully put, um, like all her eggs in one basket, so to speak. She doesn't need to pour all of her emotional energy into one specific like type of project when it comes to someone like the King of Candles, who's like the ultimate toxic masculine that's often going to prey on the princess. But the thing is with that is that she already knows that. She's already wise enough to know that. And she already knows what steps to take to protect herself. And she often just saves herself. She often just rescues herself from situations. And it turns into a beautiful energy where she'll start to attract people who actually know she doesn't need rescuing, but are able to be there for her anyway and say, I know you've got this. I know you can figure this out. And if you like want to talk about it, that's like awesome, right? And like if you want to, have a friend, someone who supports you in your journey and is helping you can make it out of whatever emotional like storm you're going through, then I've got your back. Or you know what I'm saying? That's a real true like partner, okay? Especially when the nightmares occur, Okay, so we've got the sun energy, okay? And I was just learning recently that the sun energy is actually a very feminine energy, and it derives from a very feminine goddess solar energy, okay? And it's interesting too because, women, if they do, if, children are going to exist at all, they're going to exist because a woman exists. And I just find like that's often like dismissed, or I often find that like one nightmare that exists for women is like the mother-in-law that is always like, oh, are you gonna have a grandson yet, even when you've already had like three grandchildren, right? Even when you've already had children right? Whether they're born male or female, like specifically when they're born female, I notice there's a toxic uh mother-in-law that will be like, oh, aren't you gonna have a male yet, a male heir yet? Or I'm like, what century is this? You know what I'm saying? Like, women power, hello. Like, it doesn't matter if it's a male or female child. It's the fact that it exists. It's a child that is related to you, that deserves love and respect. But I find there's so much of this. So I often find that there's um and it has all signs here too. All signs are surrounding the sun here, okay? um because it's all things, right? It's not just one specific thing. It's not just one specific person that this relates to, okay? um okay, so we have here, the truth only shows part of it. I love this because that is so true here. It's like you're working towards shining the truth on a relationship, shining the truth on a situation, working through things and protecting yourself in the process. I think for a lot of you, you have actually gone through like a hard breakup, a lot of pain, and now there's time there. Your guardian angel is saying emotional sensitivity. Now is the time for emotional sensitivity. Honor and respect your deep sensitivity, as it is a gift of us all, for us all. Again, there's that message of all, because I think collectively, this message resonates with all signs. It's not just one sign specifically. And uh, there's room and time to grow. There's room and time to learn more about yourself and give yourself that time and space you need to heal from a toxic relationship, heal from a hard breakup, heal from learning that you don't need to be rescued. You don't need someone to be, your knight in shining armor, because you already hold all the cards. You already hold all the answers. And workshops and seminars. Okay, here's your career guardian angel. Okay, attending and giving speeches is part of your spiritual path and purpose. Be open to teaching and learning. Yeah. So wow. So it's like your career is taking off, and the fact that you're now becoming the CEO of your own company. You're becoming the leader of, your own team, your own management. You're your own team leader, you're your own manager. You're not oh yeah, I'm totally this person that's just gonna follow directions and tell what other people tell me to do. It's like you're off on your own path here, figuring out your own shit. And it's really truly amazing and remarkable, because I feel like with the younger themed cards, like the child, the son, and the princess, there's these themes where often people might view you as young, naive, not really you don't really know what the world's about yet. You haven't really seen what the world's about yet. That is so far from the truth. Children actually often see the world bigger and brighter and more real than adults do, right? Because I have people who are older than me, that will be say the most immature things. They will act the most immature. They will do the most destructive things. And at what point did they sit down and just really try to teach themselves how to be better, how to learn how to grow from their mistakes, and how to sort of form this full circle moment where you're now looking back at your past, and you're seeing the Lover's card. You're seeing what nightmarish hell you went through in order to come out and see what you have, how you've survived that, how you've overcame those challenges, and how you're able to really now see what kind of love you deserve, what kind of respect you deserve, versus what you were dealing with in the past, where you thought, oh, I have to just settle for this specific type or style of relationship because that's what this toxic king of candles was telling me I deserved. But it's that's so far from the truth. And the queen of candles knows better. Like, she, the king of candles underestimates the fact that you hold this card, you hold this power. And that's what gives you this queen of coins. That's what gives you this abundance. That's what gives you this financial security and power, because you are succeeding and you are growing and you are learning, and there's even the sun behind her. So I feel like these are the three stages made in Mother Crone. You've got, you were a child once, you didn't know how the world worked, you were told fairy tale stories, you were just a kid that just said whatever was on your mind, didn't care what anybody thought, or opinions, whatever. Then you became a little bit older and you're like, oh, now I see. Now everybody's telling me how I need to be, how I need to act, what I say, what I need to say, what I don't need to say, how I dress, how I don't dress. All these things were so controlling, and now you've broken free from that, and you've now fully grown into the person you are today, knowing all this power and having all this wisdom, and never losing sight too of your inner child, of nurturing yourself, of taking care of yourself, on sharing your wisdom and your stories and your voice. So I think that's a very good, powerful reading for you. I think that, on whatever, you know, nightmarish hell you were just enduring, I think that it's ending, and you're now moving into a much more dreamy, peaceful, calmer, relaxing place now where you can focus on your emotional sensitivity. You can relax, you can rest, and focus now on what is important to you. And moving forward, that's going to be, your biggest priority right now is like prioritizing yourself, okay, and your emotional needs. Um, yeah. So that's what I have for you. Love and light always. Thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to hit that thumbs up button and subscribe to my channel. Love and light always. Bye.